Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Safila Umi Firdaus from class 5A. I will explain my final project about the novel Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. A. Book Identity. Author Jane Austen, Country United Kingdom, language English, genre novel of manner, satire, publisher T. Egerton, publisher What the Hell, date of issue January 28, 28. Synopsis: The Bennet have 5 unmarried daughters. This made Mr. Bennet was worried because if Mr. Bennet dies, so his children will not receive an inheritance. Then Mrs. Bennet has ambition to marry off his children to rich men. Incidentally, at that time, a rich young man had just moved to Netherfield, a place near of the Bennet residence. Soon the Bennet has the opportunity to meet their new neighbor, Mr. Bingley, at the dance at Meryton. Mr. Handsome Bingley apparently broke his friend, Fitzwilliam Darcy. Mr. Bingley has described as the pleasant, friendly, and courteous gentleman, while Mr. Darcy is close person, at same arrogant in the dance. Jane, who is the eldest daughter of the Bennet family, become close to Mr. Bingley. At that moment, Elizabeth overheard Mr. Darcy insulted himself. Thus began Elizabeth hatred at her prejudice again. Analyzing novel elements. Intrinsic element. A. Theme. Love, Pride and Prejudice tell the story of the most cherished love story in English literature, of the which is the period of closeness between Darcy and Elizabeth, which is full of the conflict where Elizabeth. Reputation, Pride and Prejudice describe the life of the society where a woman's reputation is very important in attracting a life partner, and Mr. Darcy make everyone think badly of him. Character: Elizabeth Bennet, the second oldest of the Bennet daughters. She is attractive, witty, intelligent, but with tendency to form tenacious prejudice first impression. Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy, Mr. Bingley's friend and the wealthy owner of the family estate of Pemberley in Derbyshire. Mr. Bennet, a logical and reasonable late middle-aged landed gentleman of a more modest per annum, and the truly sarcastic patriarch of the now dwindling Bennet family. Mrs. Bennet, the middle-aged wife of her social superior, Mr. Bennet, and the mother of their 5 daughters. Jane Bennet. Jane Bennet, the eldest Bennet sister, she is considered the most beautiful young lady in the neighborhood, and inclined to see only the good other, but can be persuaded otherwise and the sufficient advice. Mary Bennet, the middle Bennet sister, and the plainest of her sibling. Catherine Bennet or Kitty Bennet, the fourth Bennet daughter, took older than Lydia. She is her shadow and follow her in her pursuit in the officer of the Mitilia. Lydia Bennet, the youngest Bennet sister, she is frivolous and headstrong. Charles Bingley, a handsome, amiable, wealthy young gentleman from the North England. Caroline Bingley, the vainglorious snobbish sister of Charles Bingley. George Wickham. Wickham has the acquainted with the Darcy since infancy, being the son of Mr. Darcy's father, Stewart. Mr. William Collins. Mr. Collins is Mr. Bennet's distant second cousin, a clergyman and the current heir presumptive of his estate on Longbourn House. Lady Catherine de Bourgh, the overbearing aunt of Mr. Darcy. Mr. Edward Gardiner and Mrs. Gardiner. Edward Gardiner is Mrs. Bennet's brother and the successful tradesman of sensible and gentlemanly character. Georgia Darcy. Georgia is Mr. Darcy's quiet, amiable, and younger sister. Charlotte Lucas. Charlotte is Elizabeth's friend who at 27 years old. Colonel Fitzwilliam. Colonel Fitzwilliam is the younger son of the Earl and the nephew of Lady Catherine de Bourgh and Lady Anne Darcy. Plot. Introducing. At this stage, there is an introduction of characters such as the Bennet family, Lucas family, Bingley and Darcy family at the beginning of the story, as well as a few character traits. Conflict began to arise between Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth, where Elizabeth feels Mr. Darcy is too arrogant as she hates him so much. Complication began to arise when Elizabeth heard the story from Mr. Wickham, and he believed to and immediately had a bad feeling about Mr. Darcy. Elizabeth finally knew the truth that what Mr. Wickham against Mr. Darcy has lied, and he was very sorry that he had been deceived by Mr. Wickham. The crisis began to appear where Elizabeth no longer had a crush on Mr. Darcy as a result of Mr. Wickham. Solution. After incident, Elizabeth also became fond of Mr. Darcy and they finally got married and lived happily. Setting. Place. Longbourn, the Bennet's home. Pemberley, the Darcy home. Netherfield, the place of Mr. Bingley rented. Hertfordshire Rosing, where Lady Catherine and the Bourgh live. Lucas Lodge, the Lucas family residence. London, Kent Hansford, where the Collins live. London, Gracechurch Street, where Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner live. Meryton, where the Philip family live. Brinton and Derbyshire. Time between the 70 and 80 centuries. Atmosphere. Dance parties are often held to entertain guests and make it a place to find mates. Viewpoint. This novel is told from Elizabeth Bennet's point of view. Jane Austen encouraged her readers to follow the story from Elizabeth's point of view, which is full prejudice and misunderstanding. The feeling he had when he read the letter was hard to describe. Although surprised at first, At first, Elizabeth thought Mr. Darcy was about to apologize. Then he guessed Mr. Darcy couldn't give any explanation without feeling embarrassed. With a strong preconceived notion of whatever that man was about to reveal. Language style. Pride and Prejudice use a language style in the form of a narrative storytelling technique to speak directly and freely. It means that three is freedom of speech for each character, not only words that are actually spoken, but also words that symbolize the character thought or the way the character think of speak when he is thinking of speaking. Mandate. This message contained in the novel among other. 1. Don't be too easily prejudiced against others. 2. Don't be too easy to believe what people say by others. 3. Honesty is a good attitude so it doesn't cause prejudice. 4. Don't be too proud of your role. 5. Communication and mutual respect are two very important things, especially in the relationship between parent and children. Parent, Parents always want to best for their children, even though sometimes it raises different of opinion between the two parent and children, so respecting and understanding each other is very important. 6. Whenever, wherever, whatever our position, be kind and friendly to others. 7. Don't just look at people from the outside, but also understand the true nature of the person. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.